Okay, if some bullshit happens, I'll text you on the
Okay.
WhatsApp
Sounds good.
contingency plan.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to La Cantina MX Football Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Jaime. And we are going to recap the Olympic national team. They ended up on the podium. Also, match week 3 in Liga MX. Some rumors about some kids going to Europe. Messi going to PSG. And as of right now, literally as of right now, Tigres is getting their shit pushed in by Seattle Sounders in the League's Cup. Not a good start for Piojo. But before I go any further, let me introduce Joel. Joel, how we doing?
Hola, Jaime. Doing good, and glad to eat the crow, to eat my slice of humble pie with my Olympic prediction. Happy for that bronze.
Yeah. So, between our last podcast, Mexico played Japan again. They redeemed themselves from that 2-1 loss in the group stage, and they ended up beating Japan and getting on the podium with a bronze medal in the 2020 Summer Olympics. What do you think? Are we proud?
I think Mex fans should be. You know, it's another medal. So now Mex has 2 to add at the youth level. They certainly showing to be I wouldn't say powerhouse, but I saying one of the better teams, top 10. You know, so 2 medals at the Olympic, 1 gold, 1 bronze, 2 under 17s. I think they just need to improve at that U20. But it's definitely good to add that to the coffers.
Yeah, before the Olympic tournament kicked off, I had said, this team is too senior. They have too much experience. It'd be embarrassing for them to not end up in the podium. I was kind of going for the gold, but I didn't realize how hard it is to get a gold medal. Even at the U23 level, it's very competitive. Brazil ended up defending their title, getting the gold Olympic again.
Yeah, they and that was the thing, you're saying how difficult it is. And Brazil was the team that was the medal was the one thing lacking from their cabinet. You know, they had all those World Cups and Copa Americas and Confederaciones and whatnot, but no gold medal. And they were denied in 2011.
12.
Mex beats them in London, 2012. Yeah, I'm in a different timeline now. But then they go on and they win it. I think it's the one Rio, right, when they hosted at home. And now they
That's right.
double up. But I mean, this is very recent for them to have just won it. So yeah, it can be could get difficult.
And Danny Alves added another piece of silverware to his impressive resume.
Isn't that guy like 40?
44 trophies.
But I mean, no, his age. He's like 38 or
he's
what
38.
Is he? Like,
yeah, he's won 44 trophies.
Man, yeah, Zanetti played until he was like 42 or something with Inter. Because see, Dani Alves, he's one of those Iron Men, gonna keep going. Yeah, impressive on that part. And I gotta say, this bronze sort of eases the pain a bit for fellow Mex fans. They were crying over 2 CONCACAF lost finals, and I think they sort of forgotten now. At least until eliminatorias.
Yeah.
It softened the blow.
Yeah. So Mexico ends up with a bronze medal, and we're already starting to see the fruits of our labor. Some rumors going around with Johan Vasquez basically saying it's a done deal. He's going to be loaned out to Genoa. I mean, when Fabrizio Romano tweets about it, it's pretty much official. This guy knows. I mean, this is what he does for a living. He just lives on Twitter. If you guys want any transfer rumors or like leaks, like Fabrizio Romano is like the god of this. He's like Waz of like the NBA. He just, as soon as he tweets it, it's basically like guaranteed. So Johan Vasquez.
Man,
Go ahead.
what happened? No, I was just saying he must have some really good contacts
Oh yeah.
for to be, just
So, lost count of how many Mexican players have played in Italy. I know Rafa Marquez has gone there. I know Layun's gone there. I know Salcedo's gone there. I know Hector Moreno's gone there. But
there's been like Pete, I think Pete Altamirano, I think ended up going,
yeah.
and then there was some other dude from America. I forget his name. This is way back, but he never really played. I would say aside from Marquez, it hasn't gone too well for the majority
Whoa, how can I forget
of
Chucky Lozano?
Mexicans. Yeah, and even him, right? He's still not a starter.
Well, his first season was, tough love with Gattuso, and then he really bounced back last season. Unfortunately, Gattuso's gone, so he's no longer the coach. But yeah, safe to say that Mexicans in Italy just haven't been favored, haven't really had a really good transition or good runs. In fact, I have a clip from Hector Moreno talking about his short little span there at Roma. Let's see if I can get it to play.
Estoy solo 7 meses. La verdad que es el equipo donde a mi posición, te hablé yo de que a los 18 años, 15 años cuando fui a Pumas no sabía defender, pues cuando llegué a Roma me di cuenta que seguía sin saber defender, güey.
Neta,
te lo
sí
juro.
aprendiste mucho.
O sea, yo tuve entrenadores todos que priorizaban el fútbol ofensivo. O sea, a ellos les importaba que yo sacara la pelota, que diera buenos pases entre líneas, ¿sabes? Todo ese tipo de cosas. Obviamente, defender como grupo, pero individualmente. Y nunca, no aprendí tanto en 7 meses que estuve en la Roma como... Ahí fue impresionante, fue una...
O sea, sí aprendiste nuevas maneras de defender.
Mucho, güey, mucho. La manera de perfilar el cuerpo. Tonterías que dices, no puede ser, ¿cómo no lo sabía? ¿Sabes? Tengo 10 años o más defendiendo y llego aquí y me dices, oye, estás bien pendeja. Pero bien, o sea, el entrenador, todo, me lleva súper bien con la gente, pero yo creo que si hubiera, no lo sé, todo lo pasado, todo es muy fácil decirlo, pero si hubiera estado un poco más, hubiera jugado o...
Also, what a weird accent Hector Moreno has.
Where is he from?
I think he's from Sinaloa? Maybe I'm tripping.
Very interesting what he says.
Yeah, Culiacan. Yeah, I mean, he basically said that, he basically had to relearn how to play like defense when he went to Italy, and Italy's always known to have like, strong defense. Like they've always had some of the best defenders in the world. Cannavaro, Baresi, and what was his name? Nesta, Maldini.
Can't forget Maldini.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are just
Paolo Maldini.
So he went to Roma, and he just had a really hard time adjusting. And keep in mind, he didn't go as a young buck. He was already late in his career. He was already like in his late 20s. So, it's kind of hard to teach an old dog new tricks. That's why I'm very excited for Johan Vasquez. He's very young, and hopefully it'll benefit him. I know it's a loan, but hopefully he'll prove himself.
He had that problem, right? It was him with his wife, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Who? Moreno?
His wife didn't want to. Yeah, his wife didn't want to stay in Italy, and it's one of the reasons he left.
Oh, I have no idea.
Was it him?
I think it was Salcedo.
I think she had a.
No, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
No, I think you're right. It's Salcedo that
like
had a miscarriage or something, and she's like, I don't know no one here. I I want to be with my family.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Mexican player is very coddled, very spoiled, gets paid well. So, at any point in time when you go to Europe and you feel uncomfortable, it's like, I'm going home. Happened to Pablo Barrera and Aquino. It's just like, I'm going home. I'm going home, where I'm a king.
I don't remember too much with Barrera. I don't know because I think if it was injuries, but Aquino was a disappointing one because he was he got played out of the first team. He was not being, he was being left out, not even bench. And I remember he got in trouble with his club. I believe it was not sure if he Villarreal or Rayo Vallecano, one of those two. And he had like family visiting, and he took him like sightseeing. He took him to like they did like a trip, like a day trip or some trip, and he was posting on his Instagram, and then the club fined him because he was
Wow.
like I don't think he was supposed to leave, like you're still supposed to stay and train or whatever, and this dude's like showing his family around.
Yeah, players get distracted. He had a really good Gold Cup. Pablo Barrera and Aquino, I don't know, man. I never really rated him that well, but I was happy when he did go to Europe, and I think he really helped them in the second division, right? He helped the team get promoted again to the first division when he was at Villarreal.
Yeah, I didn't even pay attention to that.
But there's not just Johan Vasquez. We also have Santiago Munoz from Santos, who really didn't get too much action in the Olympics, but they've been hyping him up. Also, with Sebastian Cordova, there's rumors about him going to either Betis, PSV, or Ajax. So I mean, we're starting to see these rumors start to come in on some of these players that had really good tournaments. I'm just waiting on the Alexis Vega transfer, man. I mean, he was one of the best players in the tournament. And
You want him to leave so soon, Jaime? Chivas needs him.
I know Chivas really need him, but he is, it's like if Picasso was constrained to only do finger painting, it's just like he's in the class
paint by numbers.
It's just you're holding this dude back, if you keep him at Chivas. And
no, I agree.
I mean, right now he just got nominated to play in the MLS All-Star game, so it's like, come on, man. Or he's just wasting his time, playing in these games. He needs to be playing in Europe like ASAP. But yeah,
you sir are correct. He needs to be at that higher level.
Well, yeah, I mean,
he's at the good age too.
Yeah, he is at the good age. Any other time I'd be like, no, Chivas needs to win titles, and we need to,
that's as a Chivas fan, I just want the team to have the best players possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
But just as seeing this just as Vega, just as the player, like just for his sake, his career, then yeah, he does have that talent to, if he wanted to play in a better league, to succeed. And so that's, I guess, my take where it's different. If it's something he wants, then yeah, go for it. But the whole take of just go over there because you're gonna, so you can get better or something for the sake of the national team, or just because if you stay at Chivas you're gonna suck, then I never been on that.
On that
boat.
I understand.
No, because it's because you always want your club to be the best it can be.
Of course.
You're never gonna get there as soon as you have a good player. You want him to leave. Then at that point, you have to question your loyalty to the club. You're more of a national team guy, which it's cool, but then you're not much of the club because you don't really care to see them succeed, especially right now where it's like they haven't been able to bring in any talent.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, it really is sort of underwhelming, the way Chivas have been playing and the way they've been running the team for the last couple of seasons, emphasis on trying to get a movie deal or a, series deal when in reality it's like this is not what you want to capture in 4K, man. You don't want to capture these failures. You should be focusing on trying to win. Number one, bring back like the cantera that we're known and loved for. Bring the academy players that continue to fuel the fire here at Chivas. Like, get that shit organized. And then number two is like, combine a mix of talented players and experienced players to win or play at something. I miss the aggressiveness and the offense and just bringing excitement to the team. And right now we just have the wrong coach who doesn't know how to play that way, and we're not getting results. So it's like at this point, it's like this is a salvage title. Like, try and take. It's like you go to like the what's it called, pick and pull. Say, all right, man, these players are worth a damn. Let's pick these guys up and pull them to Europe, and the rest of the team, can go, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it could take a while to like restructure, because that's part of what Chivas has needed. The whole club to be restructured. You had everything that was going on while Jorge Vergara was still around, and all the problems that were being caused because of his wife.
Right.
Where they were doing all this shakeup, and then what was it? Jose Luis Higuera sort of takes charge of the team, and he sort of puts them in the red. He invested all this money, and they bring in all these really good players, Pizarro and
Pulido.
Pulido, Gallo, just a bunch of big group of them. A lot of them had already won league, and then they obviously they had to sell them out. Sell them because they owed all this money and they couldn't afford so many wages. And I guess that's where a lot of the fans just really couldn't see that. But we have to see what position was the club left in, after that big investment, and then the not being able to get a TV deal. Let's not forget Chivas went. How many seasons was it? Like 2 or 3 without like a proper TV deal. Where there's like, we're doing Chivas TV, and then it's like Bimbo's like, well, we're gonna sue you because her contract was that you still have to be on TV, and then Chivas was like, we're staying with Televisa for one more year, but not Televisa. It's their cable channel, I think, TUDN or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And all this back and forth, and then they were like in 4 different TV channels at one point. Everyone had a piece of it, and then just recently was when they got picked up by Telemundo, and even then it's probably not even that good of a deal. That was more of like it's that or nothing. So, and I think that's been hurting them a lot, not having a good TV deal in both in the US and Mex, and then the sponsors, where it's like they had to go with Caliente, and then I don't know what. Are they still with them, or what, who are they? Who are they with now?
I don't know. They added a few more sponsors to the team.
It's gonna end up looking like the NASCAR shirt.
One of them is Jorge.
All over the place.
Yeah, one of them is Jorge Vergara. I don't know what that means, but
Just his name?
It's on the back of the jersey. It's his signature, so I don't know what that means.
Probably, I don't know. Just memorandum, I don't know.
Yeah. But
Yeah, so I mean, all of that stuff, that all of that happened left the team in a bad place. And I know Amaury gets a lot of flack, but I think like what he did, where he put Pelaez, pretty much in charge of the team, and then they have Leaño in charge of the youth, and so I think it'll take a while for that to straighten up.
yeah, Michel Leaño's someone that I'm excited about. I think he's doing a great job. We'll have to continue to stay vigilant there. With the match week 3 of Apertura 2021, things kicked off with Querétaro losing to León 1-0. Elias Hernandez scored the only goal of the game. And speaking of León, they were also the team that made it to the Leagues Cup. If you guys are not familiar with that, it's like a reincarnation of the Super Liga. It's just a knockout tournament between a few select Mexican teams and MLS teams. And yesterday they went off on Sporting Kansas City. They won 6-1.
Oh.
So, yeah, they went in there and didn't mess around. And this is just a one-done game, so they're already in the semifinals. So Leon's having a pretty good run so far, even though they've no longer have Ignacio as their coach. Seems like the team is still getting the job done. And then after that, Mazatlan and Monterrey ended in a draw 1-1. I actually caught that game. It was kind of interesting how Mazatlan had scored first, really catching everybody by surprise. And then Pocho Gonzalez, he tied up the game. And then there was a few red cards at the very end. So Monterrey kind of off to a sluggish start. But they are missing a few players. They just officially presented their new signings with Eric Aguirre and Hector Moreno. So they are officially Monterrey players. I was really bummed out, because those are two players that I wanted Chivas to buy. But I guess they don't have any money.
No, especially not Monterrey money. So, and then they haven't been able to sell players, which is another big, that's another biggie right there. Like the ones they let go, they're all on loan.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Necaxa lost to Cruz Azul 2-1. And Toluca beat Tijuana 2-0. Then we had Chivas. Everyone wanted to pull their hair out because Juarez scored first, like 10 minutes into the match. Angel Saldívar tied the game up, but then Juarez took control, ended up winning, or it looked like they were going to win 2-1, but then Godinez, out of all players, came in, scored at the 89th minute to salvage a draw against Tuca Ferretti and FC Juarez. So that leaves Chivas in 9th position, and Juarez got their only point of the season so far. They're in 14th position. Kind of a rough start for Tuca Ferretti, but I know, Joel, you've told me before that he's never been fired.
No, and then the club president, it's the guy that was president at Tigres. So they didn't bring him to sack him mid-season,
Yeah.
They brought him in. He's going to finish it. And it's just, obviously, they're same thing. The word of the day, restructure. This guy came in, obviously, to help bolster the club. I forget his name, Tigres ex-president, new Juarez president. And so, obviously, he brought in Tuca as a, he is a good coach, at least I think he's going to at least have them be a competitive team, whether they qualify to Liga or not. But I think they're just getting started with that. I don't see it as they're gonna sack Tuca just because he's in danger of whatever. I do feel they have some type of project they're gonna work on.
I have a question for you. This is something that's been floating around. Who do you think is going to get sacked first? Who's going to be the first coach to get sacked? I'm thinking, some of the culprits. You got Vucetic, you got Piojo, you have Tuca Ferretti, you have
Oh, you're all a big fish, dude.
you have
You're naming all the whales.
you have Ligini with Pumas who's had a really rough start.
Eliani.
Yeah, so I mean Siboldi as well. So it's like, I mean, this is something that's I know it's crazy. We're in match week 3, but realistically, do you see any of these coaches getting fired mid-season?
No, even though Liga MX is very unpredictable. But
yes, it is.
Just going down the list. So basically, we already say why Tuca's not getting sacked.
Yeah.
The president brought him. They were very close. Big reason as well why Tuca's not at Tigres, because a lot of the old guard that was in charge, like the boardroom, were gone. They phased out, and then the new people took over, and so he's back with someone of his confidence. So I don't think this guy brought in Tuca just to sack him, especially when they work together. They work together, they know each other. So I unless Tuca's like, this isn't for me anymore. So, but that would be Tuca leaving. I don't see them sacking him. With Buse, I think Buse is more of a Pelaez thing, because Pelaez is the one in charge. Pelaez is the guy that brought him. You will basically have to have Pelaez quit. The only way I could see Buse leaving is if Chivas is getting completely dominated, like played out of the field, where it's like it just looks horrible, and I don't think I'm gonna see that happen either. So I see them both staying. And how much can you blame Buse? What is this, second season, no refuerzos? How are you blaming this guy? You bring in a coach, at least trying to get him some players that could get his system, but you're just like, no, we're gonna take players away. So and this is the one thing where I was already seeing people calling for Jimmy because he did good at the Olympics.
He did. And
I'm like, that's flavor of the month, man. We had already an Olympic medalist, gold, by the way, in Tena.
That's right.
Same Chiva fan said he sucked. Doing good at youth. The youth tournament doesn't translate to you're gonna go to league and do good. Good example is Chucho Ramirez wins the under 17.
Oh yeah.
He was flavor of the month for like a year or whatever, and then he coached America and some other team, and it didn't go well for him. So I think.
And I haven't heard from him since. Like, he coached America and that's it, man. Like, his career just went down the toilet.
He was doing a lot of like those like presentations where it's like Dare to Dream type of thing, where it's like a soccer expo, and then they do the little story, and it's like, this guy led Mex to their first under 17, and they do like a little 5-minute road to glory, and then it's like he comes out and he talks. I know he did that a few times.
Oh wow, he was the caretaker of La Selección after Hugo Sanchez got fired until they appointed Sven-Goran Eriksson. So he was.
Yeah, I think he played kinda. He played like 2 moleros or so.
Yeah, he played 5 games, won 4, lost 1. So that's it, man.
There you go.
He coached America in 2009, 2010, had 55 games, 22 wins, 16 losses. So maybe not the best outing for him, but he ended up not coaching anybody else after that. He just kind of disappeared. But yeah,
Yeah.
I agree, man. I have seen a lot of people start to ask about Jimmy, about maybe coaching Chivas or whatever. The only thing I will say about that is like, look, like he obviously knows how to play the players in their correct positions, and that's something that you could probably like criticize Vucetic. Like he doesn't play players in their correct position, and that could mess with the style of play
Yeah,
or
but the counter to that is, like you're playing youth against youth, and right here he would be playing against very experienced teams. So it's like you're sort of forced to be able to play a different way, or else you're going to be getting washed.
yeah.
And we talked about before just how tight the league race is, where it's like the goals differential come into play.
Yeah, you got like 4 or 5 teams with like 23 points, and they could all make Liga, and get like with a win, they'll jump from like
Yeah,
eighth to
and
like third. I understand.
yeah. So I to me that's a big reason why like a lot of the coaches with Chivas have been more defensive or more cautious. Now, I know the fans want the attack, but it's a business first. If they don't go to Liguilla, they're losing a lot of money. So I mean, they could under under the current system, they could play fancy football and not go anywhere, and they'll just end up being broke. So at the end of the day, they do need to at least get to the big dance, and that's why I say a lot of times it's important to play some of these tournaments or stuff with like MLS, even though
Yeah.
I know fans hate it, but it's still going to generate money for Chivas.
Yeah, so kind of to just end this topic here, uh the
Oh wait, yeah, the coaches that are getting sacked.
I think so this question was on the subreddit, and Vucetic was number 1 with 238 votes. And number 2 was Andres Liini, coaching
Yeah.
Pumas.
Oh, well, that's the second guy. See, and it's saying Pumas is pretty similar to Chivas, where it's like they brought this guy. He had a good season, very very
Went to
good
the
season.
final.
Yeah, and then they sold one of his better players.
They sold Cocolizo, and yeah, they sold like their best player to Tigres.
And then they haven't really brought him anything.
They brought in like
Anything
a
worth.
Panamanian from the Big
Yeah,
Lots
like it's almost
bargain
40.
bin.
Like it's, it's manager special at this point. It has like four discount
He took
price tags.
a team that had no business beating Leon. Or was it who they beat? No, they came back from losing to Cruz Azul 4-0.
Cruz
That's right.
Azul, it was the
Yeah,
big
no
the big
business.
controversial
They
match.
had no business coming back in that match, and they did it. And now you're gonna sack him. It's not his fault, man. I personally think out of the coaches, the one that's gonna be on the big hot seat is Guillermo Vasquez, because he's coaching Necaxa, and now they have American investors, and in 3 games they have 0 points. So I think he is probably gonna get the axe first.
I will see. Oh wait, just to finish on Iliani. Yeah, and that's the thing with Pumas. They're not investing money. So if you're trying to get a good coach or some known coach, for the most part, they're gonna impose they're gonna have, okay, I'll coach, but I want at least guarantee me 3, 4 players. And I don't think Pumas right now is in the business of that, unless they're gonna be like, okay, let's just promote again from within the club, because he was a youth coach. So say, okay, let's try with the next youth coach who's up next. But they start looking pretty bad at that point. I think I would think they would wait it out. I would say the same thing I said about Buse, unless Pumas is getting like just utterly humiliated in the field. I don't see them doing that. I think they would eventually try to get a more known coach, or at least try to get some of the players that Iliani, has been asking for. And it should be easier for Pumas because they could go abroad, but I don't know what's going on with the Universitarios pockets. They've been penny pinching for quite a while.
They just made €7 million by selling Johan Vasquez. So they're just, trying to.
They're patching up the Olympico Stadium. I don't know when. I don't know what they're doing. Honestly, I don't know. I would like to talk to a Puma fan and see what's going on with that boardroom, because you see some of the people that are involved, because that's the Pumas team has like a board of directors, and a lot of these dudes are tied to some big companies.
Oh.
But I don't think that they, I don't know. It's just like, even though you're with the company, you're not gonna try to bring in some money, at least, ask for a donation. I don't know. And it's pretty impressive if you see like the list of like companies or things, and it's a university, like you gotta imagine all these professionals that have graduated, all this alumni
Yeah.
that could contribute to the team. And so it's like, I think they need to start thinking outside the box, and find ways to get people to start putting some money into the club, and so that they could bring in better players. But don't know, man. Don't know what's going on there. We need to get like an inside scoop of the Puma ordeal.
Absolutely.
And then you said, who you said, Memo Vasquez at Necaxa?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, because new management, I would say the same thing, where it's like, you don't want to do the same thing. That whole sacking after 3-4 games, it's a very Mexican thing. And you're saying these are gringo investors. So I think they're a bit more of they'll try to like stay on course, and I don't think they're going to do it unless they have something better. Again, same, I'm going to stay with the same line of thought of, you have to be completely getting outplayed there, where it looks like the team, like the coach completely lost the team. There's no faith, and the team's just getting washed. And same with Piojo. I know he's had a rough start at Tigres, and it could be difficult. They were under Tuca rule for like 10 years. So, and we talked about this too, Jaime, like the whole, what's going on with the locker room thing, is
Right.
Piojo going to be able to win them over, or is this going to be Quignac's team?
Yeah.
Where he's going to have say on I think I want to play here, or whatnot, or I think we're better off if this guy starts instead of this other guy, because I know Piojo likes to bring in some of his dudes, usually some dudes that people hate, then they end up doing good as far as players, Sometimes he brings local league guys, and who knows what's going on there too. So that would be interesting to keep tabs on. And Piojo, even though I would have said no, just the whole Tigres thing with what were they calling him? Euro Tigres or something?
I have no
and
idea.
I think the new directiva is more inclined to have that type of image. And so I could see Piojo getting sacked more than the other guys. If the results don't come, I would. Normally I wouldn't, but in this case, I could see him ahead of those other guys we mentioned.
I'll tell you right now, it looked ugly. Like, I didn't even know there was a game today. I turned it on, and Seattle's winning 1-0, and then another goal comes in, and then the nail in the coffin was the last goal. It was just ridiculous. And I'm just like, wow, this is not a good look, you know, to lose to
Was it
Seattle.
3?
They lost 3-0. Yep.
Damn.
I know.
What? But in Seattle, or were they in
Yeah, in
Tigres?
Seattle. So
All right.
it's just a one done game. There's no return leg.
He probably sent. Did he play with the reservas or what?
No, I mean he had Cocolizo in the lineup. He had
He had all the top guys.
Florin Taubin, the new player from France. He had Dueñas, Ayala, Reyes. I mean, he had everybody.
Oh snap!
He didn't have Gignac, but still, just doesn't look good. You don't want to lose to MLS, especially when you're, this is a knockout tournament. So we'll have to see how it goes with Tigres. They did tie against Santos over the weekend, and that leaves them in the 10th position, right under Chivas. So it's a short season, and I doubt that Piojo will get fired in the first season unless he really does lose the locker room. I know he has an ego and he's kind of a caricature. So, I mean, I would not be surprised if he gets fired for something, but definitely not the way you want to start the season.
Yeah, agreed.
But my money's on Memo. I think that just Necaxa with new investment, I don't think they're going to be, putting up with this kind of performances. It's not that they're just, losing.
But at the same time, Jaime, it's not like they brought in a squad that everyone expected, that they brought the type of players that they're going to be challenging for the league. I know. I think they're going to slowly build to that.
It's just, they've been in a very bad position for a year now. So it's like, last season they ended up in last place, and this season feels like more of the same. So it's like
that could be their goal. Don't finish in last place.
And surprisingly for Siboldi, Tijuana just haven't been able to get off to the right start. They also have no points to start the season.
Yeah, he's a good coach too. I have a lot of faith in this dude, even though he's hasn't been able to kind of like replicate what he did at Santos, and so let's see how it goes with him there. I don't know. I haven't gotten that feel from Tijuana for them to be that type of team where they would, like they would just have sacked the coach right away, because they're like sort of like what Puebla was doing a while back. 1 month in and you're out.
Yeah.
There has been a bit more, más calmados.
We'll have to wait and see. I'm curious to hear what the listeners have to say. Tweet to us. Let us know what you think. Who do you think is going to be the first coach to get sacked this season? It's always fun to play that. But yeah, that's basically match week 3. Atlas actually ended, I believe, with the victory over Pachuca yesterday. So the standings are as this: Toluca off to a flying start, won 3 out of 3 games. They have 9 points. Then it's Atlético San Luis with 7, Mazatlan with 7, America with 7, Atlas with 7. And like we had mentioned last week, it's like right now is the time where these clubs have the opportunity to steal points because, of everybody that was away for the Olympics and the Gold Cup. So, good for Atletico, good for Mazatlan and Atlas taking advantage of the opportunity and taking some points while the big teams are indisposed. Then you have León in 6th place, Santos, Monterrey, so that's your top 8. Chivas on the bubble with 4 points. They're 9th. Tigres with 4 points as well, 10th position. Cruz Azul off to a slow start, 11th. And then Pachuca in 12th. So kind of an interesting dynamic right now. Still very early in the season, and players are slowly starting to get reintegrated with their clubs. Querétaro, Juárez, Puebla, Pumas, Tijuana, and Necaxa's in last place. So after 3 weeks, this is what we're looking at. Chivas will play Santos on Sunday. And Santos has always been our boogeyman, man. We just haven't been able to get a favorable result against them.
That is true, Jaime.
It's on the road
How
as
do
well.
You see that? I could see another draw, another week of rage from my Chi hermanos.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it works. They should have everybody back on the team by then. So Vega's back, Canelo's back. Fernando Beltran, who spoke up recently and said he's frustrated with the lack of playing time. And I know that they were really trying to get him out of the team, at least Vucetic was, but then, I think Pelaz stepped in and said, no, he's not going to leave. So we're going to have to figure out and see if he's going to get the opportunity to play. I know, they prefer Molina and Lalo Torres in the midfield, but I think Beltran is just like a very young player with a lot of talent, and it's a shame to just see him rotting on the bench.
It is, and I thought there was gonna be like a trade, and then everything fell off.
Yeah, everything just, all the rumors and trades and this and that, loans, nothing happened. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if nobody wants to do business with us, or maybe we don't have money to do business with, or.
It's also the value of the Mex player is slower now. At least within the league, it just teams being able to bring in so many extranjeros. So that means for the average player, I should say for the average player, or players that are not like selección, their their value just dropped. They're like a Dodge coin. One moment they're worth a lot, and then the next is like half. It's half value now. So that's what's been hurting Chivas a lot too, and so these teams could just easily get players of similar value in South America and get them really cheap. Not only can they do that, not only are those players going to be cheaper, they're going to be easier to sell, because a lot of times they'll sell those players back, back to whatever country they're from.
Yeah, so that's pretty much everything that happened last week for Liga MX and Mexico. Some pretty good matches this weekend with Atlas and America. Those used to be really good matches back in the early 2000s. But Atlas right now are right there, right behind America in points with 7. They're both tied on points, so it should be a good match. We have Cruz Azul Toluca, which, Toluca's off to a flying start. Who's their coach right now?
For who?
Toluca.
Isn't it
Cristante? Oh, it's Cristante.
Yeah, Cristante came back.
Oh, he's back after he got sacked, and they had Chepo, and then Chepo got fired again. And wow. So looks like Cristante's doing something right. That's pretty much it, man. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything else you wanted to cover?
No, sir. Not today. I think I've said it all.
How do you feel about Messi going to PSG?
You said it in the intro and then you forgot. We started aside coming, maybe not PSG, but leaving Barca. And then
I didn't see that coming. That was crazy, man.
No, but they had been letting go of players. Remember, they let go of Luis Suarez, and then they couldn't hold Neymar, and then they had to change presidents because all that stuff that was going on. So it kind of does show, and I think I guess to bring it back to Chivas, probably boring the non-Chiva fans. It just shows how difficult it is to maintain teams like that, and just how even teams with what you think they have generate all this money will still lose a lot of money to that point. And so here we could see why with Chivas it's if anything, I think fans have to be a bit more patient, just because it's like it, they could easily just go broke. And I think they've been broke, and then they're sort of like threading that line of like, you know, falling into red numbers again. I mean, because you remember that's big reason Vergara bought the team. There was no money, so he came in and bought it. And then the Angelica stuff sort of like hurt the team again, and so they're just trying to recover. But yeah, I thought he would have gone to like the EPL, but I guess I know the owners of PSG are like some Qatar. I don't know, some firm or like some Prince of Qatar or something. So it's a lot of oil money. So
they have a lot of money.
He's only there. That's 2 years, he said. So is he gonna end up at Newell's, or is he coming to the Galaxy? Or he could return to Barca. You never know.
Yeah, I just I never pictured in my lifetime ever seeing him play for any other club but Barcelona. And it's
he did say he would like to play before he retires. When Newell's Old Boys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's just a shame, because in the modern day of football, you rarely see one-man clubs anymore.
Oh yeah,
I think like the last player to do it that retired recently was like Francesco Totti. Only played for Roma. He turned down so many offers, from Madrid and all that stuff over the years, but he refused to play for any other club. You just don't see that anymore. Not even Steven Gerrard, he ended up going to Galaxy and then retiring. So it's just, Messi was one of those players where we thought, yep, he's always going to play for Barca and
trophies.
And it's funny because there's like a meme like, oh, you think this is painful? What about this one? And it was like the press conference when Ramon Ramirez.
Oh yeah, that was a shocker.
Was sold to Ahmed. What the fuck happened there, man? How do you let Ramon Ramirez? What happened?
No money. Remember, the promotora was in charge of Chivas at the time. Promotora, we've talked here, was from also the group. The promotora was Salvador Martinez Garza, and they had the owners of Mexlube, and so they had when they first took over, they invested a lot of money. That was the whole Super Chiva thing. And then towards the end, they were losing money, but then their whole scam with the Mexlube stuff was falling apart. So then they needed to start recouping money before it, the shit hit the fan, and that was America was willing to pay.
But then we got him right back after, right?
Didn't he go to Tigres, or he went to some other teams, and then he did come back, but it wasn't the same. The magic was gone, at least for me. It was yeah.
Oh, he did go to
like
Tigres.
It was like the Euro Cup, remember, that falls and then the bus runs over it. and then
it was the Copa del Rey, I think.
It's a wonky. It's a wonky. Yeah, I don't know.
And then he also got in that car accident where he killed somebody.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was.
Oh, killed an entire family of 5. Jesus Christ. And then here you go. Thanks for letting us borrow him. Like, dude, damaged goods.
Yeah, no, imagine that. Like, how hard is it to recover from that? Like,
we sent his ass to Chivas USA. That's fucked up, man.
Was it? I saw him play, and it was sad. It was like watching the last fights of Julio Cesar Chavez when he was doing those.
Oh yeah, he was
Like
just
at the end, they were just bad. Like you wouldn't believe this dude was a machine. It was like he's all washed up.
yeah. Yeah, it's funny because the owner of the PSG, I think, also owns BN Sports, and that's where the rights are held for League One for the French league. So it's like he didn't really lose any money, because La Liga got their contract with BN Sport ended, and now they're at ESPN Plus, But I bet you ESPN's looking at that deal like, man, we got screwed over. No one's gonna watch La Liga anymore. You got no big names anymore. Messi just left. You don't have Ronaldo, you don't have Ramos, you don't have Varane, you don't have anybody anymore. It's just for Mexico, we have a few players that are playing in Spain, but
Yeah, La Liga's beginning to sort of what happened with Serie A, where back in the day, all the top players used to be in Serie A, Zidane, and you could do the whole
Ronaldo,
list,
yeah,
and they eventually started fading out, and then Serie A sort of like it didn't suck, but it just lost some of its luster,
yeah.
and that seems to be kind of happening with La Liga. But there's still some names. I mean,
There's
they
still
still
names
have
there.
Suarez, a couple guys, but you're right. The bigger names, the more popular,
Yeah,
they're no longer there.
it's crazy because I think the reasoning behind Barcelona not being able to re-sign Messi is because they didn't the league didn't allow it to happen. It's like someone that has like a gambling addiction and they have no money. In fact, they're like, they lost everything and they're still trying to gamble. They're still trying to, they're still trying to play blackjack and like, dude, we're cutting you off, man. Like no more. So I guess that's what happened in Barca. They were just so in debt that they just couldn't allow that to happen. So he had to leave. And that's the thing, Barcelona and Real Madrid have been like the biggest spenders. And I think that's why they try to create that Super League, to kind of recoup the money from last year.
Oh yeah, they're still trying to. They're still trying to do it.
Yeah, so they're just trying to basically like fill, dig themselves out of a ditch, but they drown in debt. But appreciate everyone for listening in tonight's episode. Oh, we had Ricardo coming in at the 11th hour.
Llegó a barrer.
He said, I have a feeling Piojo isn't going to get it together. He's going to get sacked. America won big time with that Chava transfer. That kid can play. He's been consistent for 2 years now. Chivas pooping the bed this year. Messi is going to crash and burn with PSG. You heard it here first.
Who's gonna? He says that Messi's gonna crash at PSG.
I disagree with that.
Well, not at the league. They're gonna win that blind with one hand, one foot tied behind their back.
Yeah, I think like there's just too much.
Their thing is champions, though.
Yeah.
What they're going for is gonna be Champions League. I mean, and they do have, I think, Neymar and Mbappe and now Messi.
Mm-hmm.
If those guys can click, oof.
It's just awkward because on that team is also Sergio Ramos and Mauro Icardi, who he like absolutely hates. Like he hates both those players, so you're gonna have to deal with
I
that.
didn't know Sergio. Yeah, wow. Man, they sort of begin to sound like the Real Madrid from back then when they had like
Galacticos?
7 strikers. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like they didn't even need players, and they would still
I know.
bring in more.
Yeah. Ricardo, we did talk about Santiago Munoz, the rumors about him going to La Liga. So glad you're able to hop on at the end. But we're ready to wrap this up, Ricardo. Thank everyone. Make sure to follow us on the Cantina MX handle on Twitter. And let us know. Let us know who's going to be the first coach to get sacked this season. It's always exciting. We'll catch you guys next week. Have a good night.